Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for Racine Me. I'm April Dovorany. Coming up today on Racine Me, we've got a jam-packed show. We'll talk to local author, writer, and filmmaker Jason Collum about his latest projects, including some that are hitting the national scene. Well, he's worked on more than 30 films, published in 3 books, and his latest thriller can be seen on the Sci-Fi Channel. But today, he's here with us to tell us all about all of his works. So this is Jason Paul Collum. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And you are a Racine man, correct?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. So more the reason to celebrate him, and especially him being here today with us to tell us all about the work that you've had. I mean, everything from films in the B-horror industry to books to, you know, published in magazines. I mean, you've really done it all. So let's back up a little bit and talk about how you got started with all of this.
Fell in love with movies as a teenager, specifically scary movies. And then towards the end of my high school years, took a film class and was able to make some short movies. And now we're talking back in the VHS, the big heavy camcorder
Sure.
on your shoulder days.
Tough work.
Just with friends. And then in college, I wrote some scripts, contacted a guy out in Virginia, and he funded my first movie, which was shot on video, made for no money, was not a good movie. But one step to another, graduated from UW Parkside with a couple, you know, full-length movies under my belt, which had been sold around the nation, and did okay. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I got my foot further in the filmmaking well, I guess.
Sure. And you worked with, I mean, you worked with directors in Los Angeles and have been, I mean, even movies that weren't necessarily, you know, your own, written by yourself. I mean, you have had your hand in a lot of great works as well.
Well, I wouldn't say great. It's maybe
Let's say great works. You can give yourself a little credit.
Yeah, a lot of cult movies, cult classics. I worked on The Brotherhood and Final Stab and Mega Scorpions, and these were mostly under directors like Charles Band for Full Moon, David Dakota. So again, Roger Corman, I did some documentary work for. So, you know, B-movie people.
Sure, but you know, it's a big genre for the people that watch these, you know, B-horror movies. It's like you said, it's a cult thing where, you know, maybe not mainstream widespread popularity, but to the people who know it and know it well, I'm sure lots of respect for what you do.
It's, you know, the thing is, it's hard work. It's much harder work than I think a lot of the A stuff.
Sure.
I worked on a couple of A-list commercials when I was out there, and I just did not like it. It's a completely different system. When you work on B films, they're faster, they're more intense, there's not a lot of downtime, and the people that regularly work in them, there's just like a passion there that I didn't find on the A-list stuff. Like for the people that were doing the A-list stuff, it was like it was a job.
Sure.
The B-movie people, it was like a love. There was a certain, you could feel it on the sets. People were so dedicated to what they were doing. And they'd work, you know, 12-hour days, 15-hour days. I've worked on sets where we literally worked for 20 hours.
Oh my goodness.
And nobody complained.
Wow. So now let's also talk a little bit about the current work that you have, because I understand that you do have some material that's been seen on a national level on channels like Sci-Fi, for example.
Yes. Really, almost all of my stuff as a director has gone national. We've had worldwide. I've had some of my films translated into other, I think it was Romanian, and we've had some in Czech, and they've been distributed all over the world. Something to Scream About was on Showtime. Screaming in High Heels, which was a documentary I did recently on 3 Scream Queens who kind of started that idea of what a Scream Queen, a B Scream Queen is.
Sure.
We sold to NBC Universal, and that aired on Sci-Fi and Chiller for several years. And so it's all, somehow it's all managed to find its way out of just Racine and just that little independent niche, and it has seen a worldwide market. So.
And you also have some work as well that you've done in terms of writing. You've already written a children's book, correct? Or
Yes.
it's in the works.
It's in the works.
It's in the works, and with a really kind of a neat story with it.
Yes, it's called Robyn's Egg, and it's a child's first experience with death, but it's not just death in general, but specifically miscarriage. And you know, I did research on children's books that deal with that subject, and there's almost nothing out there. There were 2 books written 10 years ago, and so I thought, this is a subject that kids don't have any access to. When they're 6 or 7 years old and parents have a miscarriage, this book is going to kind of help them deal with
Sure.
like, what is it? I'm expecting something to come, but now it's not. It's gone.
Right.
So when they don't have anything legitimate to have seen and interacted with in the first place.
Sure,
So,
really to help them process that. So
Yeah.
that's really neat. Now, I'm sure that we've got some people that are watching right now and thinking, okay, I want to know more about him. So where can people go to know more, to find your books, the works that you've done, all of that stuff?
Really, the majority of the information about myself, I just keep Facebook. So they can go to Jason Paul Collum on Facebook, and you can get all of my stuff on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you know, pretty much any of the general online stores you can get. There are still a couple of brick and mortar stores, like FYE carries my films sometimes. But yeah, I do keep pretty updated on the Facebook page.
Okay, so great way to stay in touch with him. Jason Paul Collum, we thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right.